Yeah, sorry about that.
That's okay. Well, I think approval of the minutes was concluded just prior to the recording starting. Pay application number 27. I'll turn it over to George and David.
Okay, for month of March, we're billing 1,370,000. Um, we build some for concrete work, also masonry. Majority of the masonry, all the interior masonry is complete. The exterior masonry started in, I'd say probably in another, by the end of next week, we should be complete with all the exterior masonry work, the brick and everything with that. General trades, it's just, general cleanup and some door frames, hardware, those kind of things. Roofing, just, we're all dried in and they just been doing some miscellaneous flashing. Aluminum entrance, curtain walls, they've started their work. They're on that south elevation right now, putting in some of the curtain walls, windows, gypsum board, GDS. They framing the walls, doing sheet rocking and taping. Food
Hey, George.
service. Yeah.
Hey, George, I think there's some background noise coming from
Oh,
the
okay.
trailer.
Yeah. Just
thanks.
Yeah.
Thanks, George. Sorry about that.
Okay, yeah, sorry about that. Food service, they installed the walk-in freezer coolers. Also, the hood is up. Fire protection, all the mains are run. Getting ready to do the drops once we put the ceilings in. Plumbing, all the rough-ins are done. In the walls, in the heating, piping. HVAC, we've set rooftop units. Majority of the ductwork's done, just doing some final connections. Electrical, that's all the rough-ins for the boxes and the outlets, devices, powering to the equipment. Communications, they've done all their rough-ins for the data. Site work, majority, the retention basin, that's been complete. They have the gravel on it. They formed for the basketball court, and now they've started working on light pole bases, curbing. So that's the total 1,195,000, and then the net with the retainage is 1,370,000.
George, do you know, it's not part of this contract, but were they able to do the cell phone upgrade during the spring break?
Yes, I'm not sure if they ran the cabling and the antennas and all that. Whether they went inside and did the work inside, in the MDF room, I'm not sure, but they did a lot of that infrastructure work, the backbone work over the break. So I'm not sure, Luke, if they've talked to you about having that Wi-Fi set up or not, but I know the antennas in, the cables run, all that.
Cables run, the hardware's in. I'm not sure if they've done the back end yet either.
And then yesterday they were in doing the POTS line, hooking up the POTS.
Dr. Forshaw, I didn't quite catch what you said. They haven't tied it in yet?
I'm not sure. It's definitely installed and operating from that perspective. I don't know if it's tied in yet. IT's got to do that last bit.
Okay. But they did what they were saying they were going to do. They were going to install it during the spring break, and they got it done. That's good. Okay. Are there any questions about this pay application number 27? Hearing none, I will move that pay application number 27 as presented to this committee in the amount of $1,370,011.45 be approved. Is there a second? Rusty. All in favor, please indicate by raising your hand. Are there any nay votes? Are there any abstentions? Seeing none, the motion is carried. Thank you. Progress report number 26 through March and up to date. George and David.
This is for March. The summary data, we're showing substantial completion. The end of May, and then the east parking lot and the LEP outfits in August. We have percent completes. We did approve, and we'll get into that a little more, some PCOs, but our contingency hasn't really changed much. We're still having a $850,000 contingency, and then 90,000 balance in our allowances. So we're about 940 between the two, which is obviously still very healthy at this point in the game. Financials. This month there was no proposal requests were issued this period. There was 3 RFIs, none were critical. No ASIs were issued this period. There was 2 PCOs that got approved and processed through the construction committee. And then there's 2 that are processing, holding. Schedule revisions, no major schedule revisions. We did put a note, assembly wing will be completed by May 31st. But we'll be ready to accept furniture by then. But I think that we've since coordinated with the furniture consultant, and I think we're going to probably start moving furniture in around the first or second week of June. So we're just kind of verifying that with her.
Luke, when does the school year end?
As of right now, it's June 14th is the last day. June 14th is the last day for students.
Okay, so the planned moving of furniture on Thursday and Friday, the 15th and 16th is okay.
Yep, I just saw a note from Christine.
Okay, yeah, because Christine Hopkins moved that up. Apparently, George said they were asked to give a better date or whatever, more comfortable date. I wanted to ask David or George to explain on the page that we're looking at under scheduled activity revisions. It says the entire assembly wing will not be completed by May 31st. And yet on our opening page, it says substantial completion by May 31st. Obviously, there's a difference. And maybe, David, you could explain, what the technicality is of substantial completion as against real completion.
Yeah, I mean, for substantial completion, it's defined as, at that point, beneficial use, where it could be used for its intended purpose, but we know that there are going to be some finishes and spaces like the gymnasium likely will still be finishing up some stuff there and some detail work. But as far as having a building that's ready, we can go through occupancy inspections. I know in town, right, George, they want to see furniture before they actually
issue a TCO or a CO, right?
But then they won't grant anything until they actually see the furniture placed, correct?
That's correct.
Yeah. And honestly, I think, Kip, in full disclosure for next month, we should probably just take that May 31st date and just, dovetail it with the start of furniture and make it that June 15th date versus the May 31st to kind of, that if that's the day they're going to start bringing in the furniture for the building, then we would adjust the date to that. I mean, it's really not changing the trajectory. The key that we've been and the team's been talking about, I know with Luke, is having the spaces ready so that the rooms that are that are in temporary locations in the building right now, so that those can move to their new locations, so that as soon as school is out, we can commence with converting those temporary spaces to their permanent location. Right, Luke? Did I articulate that correctly as far as the dominoes we've been talking about?
Yep, you've got it. That makes sense. So if the furniture starts to come in the 15th, 16th, that means we can start, the team can start working on creating those ELP rooms, making the temporary spaces into the proper ELP spaces.
David, also, you said the TCO is going to be the temporary certificate of occupancy will be available only after furniture is going in.
George, maybe you can talk
Yeah,
more
that's
about
when
that as far as how it played out for the
right.
academic.
That's right in the academic. Mike Vitti and Bob Bush wanted to kind of see a layout of the rooms with the furniture before they issued like a formal TCO. So I would think that they'd probably do the same type of thing. With this building, we'd probably
For the
want to see
assembly
the
wing.
furniture layout. Yeah, in the assembly wing. Yeah, see kind
Okay.
of the layout of the furniture and stuff, just to make sure there's paths of egress and clear paths and all that when the furniture gets set. So
Katie,
I
you have
would
a
think they're
question?
doing the same thing.
Yes, thank you. I just wanted to ask about if the kitchen trays and utensils and that would be part of the FF&E package, and if that had been already ordered, just kind of where we were at with that. The district has been talking on a broader scale about kind of using Ox Ridge's kitchen as sort of a sustainability pilot to look forward. And I just wanted to ask on that piece.
Hi, Katie. This is Amy.
Anyone know?
I
Hi,
don't.
Amy.
That's a good question.
Yeah, I don't think trays and cutlery or anything were a part of the construction documents package, and it was not a part of FF&E. So I think that's a district operations purchase.
So how then do we coordinate? Like, for example, I remember when, quite a while ago when we were laying kind of out the kitchen and you had brought the vendor in and we were talking about the change from how the old Ox Ridge had used sort of storage for disposable and converting that into storage for reusable. So who would be the point person for that, and how do we kind of coordinate like what's going to fit and what storage we have and what our options are?
Well, I heard that the hood is in. What is the status of the other kitchen equipment, George?
Well, we have it. It's stored off site. There's some of the existing tables that were saved, that were going to be reused.
Mm-hmm.
They're actually being used, in the temporary area in the cafeteria.
I
So
guess
we have
my
all the
question
shelves. We
is,
have all this stuff.
when do you think that will be installed? Just to give Katie an idea, so that I can answer properly.
Yeah, we're probably looking like the end of May or so.
Okay.
I would think you would want to probably talk to the food service director and just sit them down with the kitchen consultant and see what, because the storage rooms, they have all the shelves, they have the shelves and then you have the working tables and stuff. But yeah, I'd set something up with the food service director and and maybe the consultant. I don't know. See.
Yeah, I
see
mean,
what we
the
need.
consultant can be involved. I think once
Right.
the equipment is in, and there certainly were meetings with the consultant and the food service director, but we can run through it and make sure that they understand, the tray returns and all of the setup that's been included in the design to make sure that they
Right,
have
the dishwashers and okay. Great. So maybe Amy, you and I can just connect, maybe that like a four-way between you and I and then the consultant and the director, just to follow up on that.
Hey, Katie and Amy, it's Duke. I would just include Rich Rudel as he manages the contract, and we've got an incredible relationship, and it's been very beneficial to the district in terms of delivery of food, upgrade of services, overall customer service with the food vendor. So I would just include Rich and Kevin Monrette in any conversations around that.
Because I would imagine
thanks,
they're
Luke.
gonna they'll have to be involved. Once we start doing our health inspections and stuff. There's a separate like operating permit that they
But
typically
Katie,
apply for.
to Katie's
So,
point, or to George, you said none of, I mean, I guess I would have assumed all that equipment and trays and utensils and all was part of a design package and included in the budget. I'm a little surprised it isn't. So, I mean, that's something we need to understand, if those are additional costs that are coming on the district side or the food service side. I know there were a lot of meetings I was not involved with. I think Katie and Amy, you all were, but I mean, that stuff should all be settled, organized, ordered. I mean, that's my view of it.
Who is responsible for it?
Well, that
Well,
seems to be the
typically it's
question.
the school. Yeah, typically it's the school
Katie,
district.
that's what the real question was, I think.
Yeah. So is Kevin Monrad on the call?
No, not today.
All right. So Katie, I'll also take it offline. I have to talk to Rich at around 1 o'clock about some other things. So we can take this offline, and then I'll circle back with you and Amy on where all that is and kind of who owns it and what the process is, because I think that's what you're trying to get at.
I agree.
Yeah,
and
absolutely.
in the
Thank you.
meantime, before your 12 o'clock meeting, Duke, I will look through the specification for food service equipment and just double check that my
Terrific.
information is correct.
No,
And
that's
I'll
good.
send it along.
Thank
Okay.
you. Good question.
Thank you, Amy. I have one other question regarding sort of the cafeteria. If this isn't the appropriate time, I'm happy to table, but I did want to ask about we had talked about putting a mosaic in with the tiles in the cafeteria from the old building. When's the right time to talk about that?
well, I don't.
All
Did
news.
we have any tile from the old building? I don't.
Yeah,
I thought it
had
was
come
saved.
by. Yeah, we did. Why am I blanking on his name? I can see his face right now.
Scott?
Yes, thank you. Scott Marlowe and a couple of his guys had helped me get a few, and I've had a box in my garage
Okay.
for a year or so. We kind of never followed up with like what the right timing would be and kind of what dimensions were going to be left. Is that still an option?
Yeah, I mean, you can come out any time really. The walls are up, they're taped. They're getting ready to be
Hey,
prime
Kate,
painted, but
in the interest of
any
everyone's
time's a
time,
good
Kate, I would again,
Right.
good point. You have the information. Take it offline and let's coordinate with Luke and Kevin Monrad. It sounds like it'd be more of a district thing. We might need the help of the folks on site, but we can coordinate that.
Great, will do. Thank you.
Thanks.
Quick question for Amy. Where are we on the furniture? Any hiccups, anything slowed down or whatever?
No, on the contrary, some of the vendors were. We just informed the vendors this week that there was a delay and that we would be looking for their installation on June 15th and 16th or anytime thereafter. They were planning for a May. So we got a little pushback on that, but they have the furniture, they're ready to install. They have to shift around their schedules a bit.
And I should add, Rusty, that the additional furniture that was carefully worked over by Luke and Amanda has been the purchase orders have been issued, and I'm not sure what the dates of deliveries on those are, but we'll find out very shortly.
Right,
Not
that
just
should
the
come
extra
in the
stuff.
summer too. So that
Yeah.
I think that'll be okay. That it'll be delivered in the summer too.
Right. Right, George, go ahead.
Yep. And then as far as procurement issues, there's really none currently. We pretty much have most of the equipment and the finishes. Um, then the summary update, site work. We've completed the storm sewer structures. Continuing insulation of the detention basin and retaining walls. We have, since finished the retention basin, and now they're starting to, set curbs for the parking lot, and site lighting, the light pole basis. Um, in the building, we've completed all the roof drains. We're working on the roof flashings. All the spray foam insulation outside's been done. Exterior masonry wall, interior, exterior block walls, those have been done. We started the brick, and probably in another end of next week we should be complete with the brick. And we've also started the windows as well. Continued insulation, ductworks, plumbing, fire piping. Started. We've completed actually the gas piping in the kitchen. Installation of metal stud framing has been complete with the door frames. We've started the gypsum board, finishing that up along with the taping. Set all the mechanical rooftop equipments. We're trying to get them started like that first week in May, starting the rooftop equipment. And then talked about the coolers, freezer in the hood. Those have been since installed. The individuals, punch list items. Um, you know, we did do some items this pat during the break. We have like 13 open items, ready to inspect 62, and then the 962 closed. And then actually commissioning status pretty much stayed the same. Um, schedule wise.
I'm sorry, George. Somebody's lit a fire underneath the Ferguson and the commissioning group to get their
Yes.
items closed up.
Okay. Yeah, they closed quite a few items this past week. There was some items for train, as far as the rooftop equipment, and from what we're told is that they have addressed or corrected those items, and now it's just a matter of us going and verifying. So
okay.
Probably early next week we'll go up there and just verify that their work has been done.
Okay.
We said no major items with the schedule, and then we did take some.
Before you get by the schedule, I noted that the east parking lot and the temporary ELP parking lot are going to be done at the exact same time the teachers start back to school, and then the kids start 1 week later. Are we confident that that can be done? And are they putting it in the same time, or it's awfully tight?
Yeah, it is tight. East lot, and then you talking this activity, both parking lots, or just the?
Yep. That's it.
Yep.
Matched up against the dates when the teachers start and the kids start.
Yeah, I think it's obviously on the critical path and it's tight, but it's pretty confident that these are good dates that can be met.
And Rusty, we've been right. Along with AP, we've been having conversations with Sean's Lawns as well, to emphasize the work that has to be done in a compressed period of time. Sean Wendell, their owner, we've been working to get his attention. So it's something that we've been tracking as important, and know that we've got to stay on top of it to make sure that those dates are hit.
Should we have a contingency plan in place in the event we get pouring rain all July and August and this thing gets pushed? You need parking.
Well, we'll have the we'll have this big lot for the assembly.
Right.
Yeah, but I agree, Rusty. It's on my
Right.
mind that we'll have that other substantially larger parking section completed. So my
Right.
worst case scenario thinking would be really to make sure that we have a good system in place for managing buses for ELP students, which I think we can do because we're doing it currently on a much smaller scale.
Okay.
So we'll just track that like a hawk and make sure that we have a plan B should we get to the point in time by the 28th, by the time that kids land, that if we need to adjust course there that we can. The other nice thing about ELP that just sort of helps with all this is their drop-off times are different than the K5. So
Right.
ELP is an 8:30 for some students and then a 9:30 for others. The big mass of K5 students is that 9 o'clock window, and we'll have the proper bus loop all specced out. So I think we'll be okay in terms of just being able to manage those different groups, those different times.
Even if there's a delay on the east parking lot. Okay.
Yeah.
And a lot of this work, the bioswales, cutting and curbs, we're not doing very large or deep excavations, so that minimizes the weather. So you can, like today we're putting in curbs and stuff, and if you get a light rain or some rain, you might delay it, but you're not digging an 18-foot hole that might fill with water. So the impact of the weather is a little bit less than, let's say, when we were doing the original lot, when we were digging those 20-foot excavations to get this sanitary sewer in.
Right.
So,
Okay.
and then, let me see what this is the entrance to the calf. That actually the brick has since been done and plastic removed. Um, that's that's the detention system. Working on again the detention system, and actually it's this whole area is full now.
Yeah, George, those pictures are from when? When was Multivista's last
Like
trip?
March. I'm going to say March 20th, and I got some newer ones I could show you if you
Yeah, maybe just pop to some of the more current ones just to paint a clearer picture of where things really are.
Yeah, there we go. Yeah, these were taken, I think, April 11th. So again, this is where the corner of the detention basin. So underneath is the yellow pipes, and then there's like about 3 feet of stone, and then the fabric, and then some gravel. Again, that kind of shows the detention basin with the stone, and then this is the gravel. This is the area where the basketball court's going to be, and then this will be the playground area that's kind of in front of that picture. Again, then you can see the detention basin. That's where the outflow is in that corner.
And George, did you say that TC Lawn is going to start placing topsoil?
Yeah, it'll be. They're coming out Monday, so they'll be starting Monday to screen and start placing topsoil in that area.
Amy, did you ever give Rusty what the soil
Yes.
mix on the field is?
She did, and it was. I reviewed it, and it looks perfect.
Okay, thanks. Just checking.
Great.
Yep.
How big again is the detention system? Is it 500,000 gallons?
I'd have to check, but sounds probably right. 500,000.
Okay. Because they put a 1,000,000-gallon retention system up in the Roden Heights. That's why I just asked the question. Wow. Expensive stuff.
And this is the south elevation. They've started the curtain walls and the aluminum, the metal siding. That work is being done now. And that's just around the corner. That's the entrance to the calf. And then we're into the cafeteria. The ductwork. This is where the spline ceiling, not spline, but the curved ceiling is going to be going. Going in. And the kitchen hood is here. The coolers over there. Another picture of the cafeteria. And then this is just like the gang bathrooms. That's that corridor, the main corridor going up to the academic. This is one of the music rooms, I think, or storage. Corridor.
And George, the ceiling install is starting on Monday?
No, the ceiling started yesterday. Started
Okay.
putting grid up into the library media center.
Great.
It's like right here. Yeah, it started yesterday. Library media center. That's the temporary wall. We put in the curtain wall and the glass. So then, when school's out, we'll take down the temporary wall. Now we're into the gym. And that's the kind of the stage area. There'll be a soffit up in here, and then we're into the stage area. And that's it. I don't know if there's any other questions.
Hearing none, move on to our next item of business, which is to review the owner's contingency and the trade allowances. I'd like to tell you I've got it done, but I don't. I spent some time trying to pull it together, and I'm going to really need to sit down with Rusty and Duke and Dan and grind through it one more time, because I think it's important that we know where we've got, obviously, a report every month about where our construction costs are in quite a bit of detail. And we go over that and we question it both at the OAC meetings and here at this meeting. However, we really haven't had a chance to go back and review where we started with our soft costs and where we are today. For example, probably one of the most outliers of all will be the furniture story. Furniture stories right now, I've got $1,286,000 of purchase orders, stuff that has been delivered and will be delivered. We originally projected $780,000, but we had more students, and so that changed everything. So the question is, where do we really start? And I want to go through that. On the technology side, I know that we're a lot less than we had projected originally because we saved a telephone system. But it's all of these things I want to go through with a finance group and then come back to you with a complete story of where we really are. So I apologize for not being able to get that done, but every time I started digging into it, I found more questions. But I feel confident that we have a fair amount of reserve on the owner's side. You heard it from the construction manager's side. They still have quite a bit there too. So we're trying to make sure we bring this project in under budget to the best of our ability and on time. Are there any other issues that people would like to bring up or questions they have? Hearing none, I have no public comment that I'm aware of that I've been told about, so I'll entertain a motion to adjourn. Who's brave enough? Diane, all right. Do I have a second? And Katie, all right. All in favor, just raise your hand. Any abstentions, any nays? Thank you very much, and have a good month. Thank you for joining.
Everyone, have a good day.
Thanks, everyone. Looks great.